Now, just because I can understand why he would think his actions are good doesn't mean I agree with his actions. I still believe that he's one of the most diabolical people to have ever existed on the planet.
Energy.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another video. Today, I'm here to talk about something I've had in my mind for a really, really long time. And it's that thing that I've had in my mind is the idea that good and evil, wrong and right doesn't really exist. Like it doesn't really exist. At least it doesn't exist how most people think it exists. You see, most people view morality or good and evil or right and wrong as a black and white construct with a very thin morally gray area for wiggle room in between the two juxtaposed sides. And by this, I mean that they think that most things can either be black or they can be white, with very few things falling in the middle in that morally gray area. What I believe, on the other hand, is that there is no black and white, that everything is really just the gray area. You see, to me, every action exists in a state of constant superposition, which means it's both good and bad at the same time until it is observed. And once it's observed, the viewer, the person that observes that action, dictates whether it's good or bad. But it doesn't matter which side the viewer places it on. The action still remains gray. It's just the viewer perceives it as black or the viewer perceives it as white. This is why, in my opinion, most conflicts exist. Because one person views an action as black while another person views that same action as white. They then try to move the other person onto their side of thinking, sometimes even using force. And then they villainize the opposite side for not thinking the same way that they do. And this happens because, like I said before, most people have this black and white view of the world. So when somebody has an opposing view as them, they believe that they're wrong because they don't understand that they don't have the understanding that something can be good to some, like positive to somebody, but it can be negative to somebody else. So since they have that black and white view of the world, when somebody is on an opposite side of them, they automatically assume they label them as wrong or as a bad person because they have an opposite view, they have an opposite opinion of them. But in reality, they're both wrong because there's no action that is actually white or black. The action itself or the thing itself is gray. And if people would take a step back and make that realization that whatever they're fighting over isn't black or white, but is actually gray. And by this, I mean that whatever they're fighting over can be viewed as good to some people, but also be viewed as bad to other people. Then maybe instead of fighting over who's right and who's wrong, they try to understand why that other person has a different view of that subject than they do. And maybe, just maybe, if people would stop fighting over everything and start trying to understand one another, there will be less conflict in the world. When you start to view the world as morally gray instead of just black or white, you'll be able to understand, or you'll be able to start to understand even some of the most heinous people to have ever existed on the planet. Let's take Hitler, for example. Now, disclaimer, In no way, shape, or form do I agree with none of his actions. I view the mass imprisonment, torture, and genocide of people as a very hideous act against humanity. But since I have my view on the world isn't black and white, I'm able to shape my perspective into his view and understand why he would believe that wasn't such a bad thing. Because to him, in his viewpoint, he thought he was making the world a better place. So I'm able to, even though I don't agree with what he did, I can shift my perception. Fuck, I can't talk for nothing, and put myself into his eyes and see why he would think that he was doing good, because he truly believed that his actions were making the world a better place. Now, just because I can understand why he would think his actions are good doesn't mean I agree with his actions. I still believe that he's one of the most diabolical people to have ever existed on the planet. Right up there with spider breeders and whoever the fuck invented Crocs, bro. That shit is, oh my god. I've just built the ability to do that perception. God damn. That perception shift and put myself in the shoes of the opposition. And that's really what I'm trying to convey here. It's don't automatically villainize, or don't automatically view someone that has an opposite opinion of something as you as wrong. Try to put yourself onto their shoes and try to understand why they have an opposite viewpoint of something than you. Because I promise you, if both sides of a conflict would take that same energy they put into arguing with each other and take that energy and put it into trying to understand each other's viewpoints, I promise you the amount of conflict in the world will go down. Because if both sides understand each other, then what is there to fight over? Unless they're like Hitler and they're just killing people. Then even though I understand you, it's still fuck you. But yeah, that's all I'm really trying to convey, and that's pretty much it for this video. I know it's a short video, but it's just an idea I've had for a really long time, and it's that morality isn't black and white; it's gray. And with that being said, please like, comment, and subscribe, and also hit that bell icon, and I'm out.
Which is more important, getting or letting go?